going on, everybody? It's your boy Redbeard here, and as promised, bringing you another episode of War Thunder, but more importantly, going to explain and give some clarification to that reference I made to making a new game mode for War Thunder. And if you are unfamiliar, don't really understand what I'm talking about right now, I will link the video that I made previous, my patch 1.39 wishlist. Watch that video, and I promise you, what I'm saying right now will make much more sense. So, for those of you who have watched and kind of understand where I'm getting at and where I'm coming from, then just sit back, relax, and enjoy this nice USSR domination and ground strike gameplay that I'm bringing to you. So, and before I even get into any more of the game mode, I want to give a quick shout out to all my friends and my boys at Midnight Squadron. If you haven't noticed, every time I pop up the menu, there's a little MS that sits next to my name, and that's because in the past, I think it was about a month, maybe 2 months ago, I did join a squadron. I was posting on the forums looking for a squadron. I just wanted some cool people to hang out with, maybe have a few drinks and play some good old War Thunder with. And sure enough, I got accepted into Midnight Squadron. I talked to quite a few of the guys there, and they're all really cool cats. So if you are of the adult beverage drinking nature and enjoy to play War Thunder, I highly recommend joining the Midnight Squadron because we just have a great time. And I gotta give a shout out to them mainly because we had a great discussion. Every time I post a video, I notify them, and we kind of have a nice little chat about things I say and the direction I want to go. And a lot of people agreed with adding a new game mode because a lot of people like myself are frustrated with how unskillful arcade can be at times as I get destroyed by a BF-110. I mean, ooh, that just says it all. Bad Redbeard, bad flying. But, you know, a lot of these ideas I did get from members of Midnight Squadron and people on the forum, so I just want to say, not all this credit's for me. I came up with the idea, and a lot of people added to it, so not saying that I invented this at all. But finally, with that out of the way, let's get into my idea. And my idea was to create a new game mode that is in between arcade and realistic. And what I mean by that is we would have the map size, as far as map size would go, it'd probably be 1.5 or 2 times bigger than the normal arcade map. So if you're used to playing arcade, you jump into a battle, you click into your plane, you start flying, and within about 30 to 45 seconds you can normally see your first enemy target and prepare to get into a skirmish with them. Especially if you're playing domination, you can just dive down within 20-30 seconds. You're already opening fire on the enemy aircraft. Ground strike is a little bit slower, but still. So map size 1.5 to 2 times bigger than arcade, which means that it'd be about a 2 to 3 minute flight time from your spawn point to reaching the actual battlefield itself. Now, getting right into that, the new game mode that I came up with, I would just really like to see part of the arcade would be spawning in air. I think that'd be great, especially for the game mode. I don't really want to get ahead of myself, so I'm just going to go down. I create a little checklist. I'm trying to stay the best I can with explaining it the best I can. But so the map size, 1.5 to 2 times bigger, spawning in the air, just like you would in a normal arcade battle. However, the flight models and the damage models would be of the realistic nature. If you're used to realistic battles, you take a critical hit, 9 times out of 10 you're about to die anyway. So damage models and flight models, you'd be able to stall. You can't do these if you're booming and zooming, you know, you can get away from enemy aircraft. There's no way they can turn around and catch you. Now, with that being said, going back to the arcade, I would like to see them have the arcade where you can take out 5 to 6 to 7, if you pay gold or not. You take out all your aircraft you want, so once you die once, you're not done with the fight. You can jump into your next aircraft and jump right in and keep going to the fight. Now, this is where a lot of people started giving me ideas. Is a lot of people have been complaining about the arcade aiming reticles, and a lot of people who play realistic actually enjoy not having the aiming reticle because it gives them a sense of skill when they actually get the kill and when they're getting hits on the target. So for this game mode, I decided, yeah, that would actually be pretty better. There was no aiming reticle, and you still had to pay attention to your fuel and ammo. But that came into the next problem, was what do we do about the reloading situation? Now, if you're used to realistic, you know that you have to fly all the way back to your base to end up reloading and refueling. However, if you remember in arcade, if you're an avid arcade player, then you can just tap whatever key you have assigned. I think mine is R. I think, don't quote me on this. I don't even remember my own hotkeys. But you just tap that button and you can reload at any time. Or if you overheat your guns, you jam your weapons, you can just tap that, or they'll automatically reload. And that gave me, well, that didn't give me, that gave one of the boys at Midnight Squadron a great idea, and he said, wouldn't it be awesome if we kind of mixed both together? So when you're flying out, you start out with this this normal game mode that I'm calling it, and you're flying around and you get 1 or 2 reloads in midair, and then every second or third reload you actually have to go back to your base to reload and rearm and refuel. And I was like, that's actually a brilliant idea. If you think about it, especially when you're playing, for example, as this Yak 7, you only have 200 cannon ammo. And that's why I honestly don't play the Russians in realistic battles, for the simple fact that you can make 1-2 strafing runs, and if you're not the best shot like myself, then you're screwed. You got to fly all the way back. And that made a very good idea right there. Was you can afford 1 or 2 mid-air reloads just to make the game, so people aren't constantly going back to the airfield. And it actually would help prevent what I would like to call spawn camping, because first thing I said, well, if you do make the map smaller, then all you have to do is camp the enemy airfield, and when they're taking off after rearming, dive down and get the kill. But this way, it would actually kind of alleviate that situation. You can have 1 or 2 reloads. I don't know what exact number we would have, but 1 or 2 mid-air reloads. That way that people can get in skirmish, and if you're on a 2, 3, 4, 5 air kill streak, you can keep going, you can reload and keep pushing the fight to the enemy. So, great idea. I had really no idea where to take that one, and I was given that little bit of info. I think it's great. 1 to 2 mid-air reloads before you actually have to land at your home field to finally rearm and then recharge, so you get 1 to 2 more reload. Now, if this isn't making sense, I'm sorry. I'm kind of, it's like talking to yourself and trying to explain a game mode to yourself, which in my head makes perfect sense. So if you guys really don't understand, I'm sorry. Comment, message me, tell me what needs to be clarified while I'm going through this. I'm kind of I wrote everything down, I got everybody's suggestions, and I'm just kind of trying to shuffle it in my head in a way that makes sense to you guys. So I apologize if this is not making sense, if I'm not going in the correct order, but I'm just going to push on. So, as far as damage model, flight model, reloads, and fuel, they would all be of the realistic side. So you have to monitor your fuel, you have to know your airspeed, you can't pull more than 9 Gs without your airplane's wings ripping off. All the things that go with the normal realistic battle. Things that would stay arcade. The map size would be a little bit bigger than arcade, however, it would stay roughly, there wouldn't be the 20-minute flight. It would be more like a 2 or 3 minute flight to get to the battlefield. You can spawn in the air, just like you would in arcade, instead of on the airfield. And you can reload in midair, but only 1 or 2 times before you actually have to go the realistic way and return to base. Now, for the game mode itself, because I went over this a lot, and I don't think a true domination or ground strike game mode would really work with this. It's a little bit of a different beast. So what I came up with is a game mode that I like to call air superiority. And actually, it is realistically a mix between domination and ground strike. So just like in domination, there would be 3 airfields set up just like it would be in arcade. You have 1 in the middle, and then each enemy team has 1 near their spawn. So, the airfields that would be near each enemy's spawn would be you would be able to land and capture them just like any other domination. However, the middle airfield, the one that is always fought over anyways, must be captured by your friendly AI ground forces. I did this for 2 reasons. Number 1, it mixes both arcade and realistic elements as far as game modes, because if you play realistic, ground forces are the only way you can capture an airfield. Number 2, it also helps give the bombers something to do. I know not everybody likes to fly out in fighters, not everybody likes to fly out in bombers. So trying to alleviate the situation by making it as easy for both factions and both playing styles to enjoy the game. So bombers would be able to take out the ground units and essentially get all their XP by trying to help the team win by letting their friendly ground units capture that middle airfield and destroying the enemy's ground units so they cannot take over the airfield. So, getting into that, the way you would actually win a game. There would be two ways to win this game mode. It would be, the first one would be to have your enemy ground or your friendly ground units capture the middle airfield, while the enemies, all their ground targets would have to be destroyed. Again, mixing both domination and ground strike, all the enemy's ground targets have to be destroyed, while yours then are allowed to capture that middle airfield. That would be a win for your team or a loss depending on which side you were on. The other way, because I understand this being realistic damage modes and flight modes, enemy aircraft could get taken out very easily, especially bombers. So, the second way to win would be to capture both outside airfields. So the two airfields, both your friendly, the one near your friendly spawn and the one near the enemy spawn, the ones you can actually land on. If you capture both of those and you're the last team standing with aircraft, so you destroy the entire enemy team, all you'd have to do is land on their enemy airfield, and that would also get you a win. So, I know there's going to be questions about this. I'm trying to make it as best as possible. But that is just a rough draft of what I would think a perfect new game mode would be. It would be mix both elements of arcade and realistic, flight models of realistic, but the high intensity, high action, everybody's got to work together as a team, but at the same time, if you're flying solo like I do so many times, you still have a chance of winning a game. So, that is really the new game mode I'm thinking. Right now I'm calling it normal mode just because it sounds similar to, you'd have arcade, normal, realistic, and full real battles. It sounds good in my head, maybe not. So if you like it, then yeah, definitely drop a like, and if anybody knows, like, Fly Daily or Phil Daily, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's another YouTuber. He's definitely gotten picked up by War Thunder and Gaijin to produce all their content. He does a series, a top 5 series for War Thunder, and so if anybody likes this idea, maybe they can submit it to him or give a shout out to one of the bigger YouTubers and see if they like it. I mean, I can talk about this all day, but I'm just a small little YouTube channel doing it for fun. So if people are really on board with trying to get this implemented, we would definitely have to spread it up to somebody bigger who has a bigger pull with Gaijin, such as Fly Daily or Phil Daily. I'm butchering his name, I'm sorry. If you're subscribed to him, just let him know I'm sorry for butchering his name, but at the same time, if you like this idea, definitely pass it on. So, with that part of the video going, I still have a little bit of time here as I'm flying out trying to get some kills, and I want to talk about another thing. In my previous video, I talked about the patch 1.39 wish list, getting prototype German jets introduced into the game, and not only just prototype jets for the Germans, but maybe for the British. And I actually did some research, and I believe the Japanese Air Force did have 2 prototypes. One was based off the ME-262. So, a lot of people, aside from the new game mode, did comment on that, and they said they were a 100% fan of getting prototype aircraft in there. And that got me thinking quite a bit. Well, there actually is already prototype in there, because Gaijin has always said, we don't want prototype aircraft in the game, but they already introduced 3, and it may maybe surprise you. 2, I believe, are only allowed actually in multiplayer right now. The other one is in the just normal missions you can do. But those aircraft are the XP-55, XP-50, and XF-5F Skyrocket. And they are all American fighters. They're all twin-engine. Well, actually, no, the XP-55 is that rear prop driven. But the other 2 are the twin-engine heavy fighters that were recently implemented, I believe, as early as patch 1.37. Those are all prototype American aircraft that never actually saw service and never went into production. They were all in competition with the Lockheed Martin P-30... Oh, goodness. I'm going to butcher this. No. The P-49. So, yeah. That was actually the only aircraft that went into production. All the others, the XP-55, XP-50, and XF-5F, were all prototypes being designed by other companies such as, I believe, Boeing or... Oh man, I'm not even going to try to go into the historics. I don't want to make a fool of myself. But those are all prototype aircraft that were introduced. And a lot of the Russian aircraft you see here were produced, but they weren't heavily produced. And so they were more or less prototypes for the simple fact that, for example, I think the MiG-315... Oh man, I'm going to make a fool of myself right now trying to remember these just off the top of my head. But there were such few numbers of these actually produced. I mean, we're talking maybe 1,000. And when you say, oh, 1,000's a lot. When you're thinking about the BF-109s were produced in the tens of thousands every year, the P-51, even though it entered the war late, it had tens of thousands rush produced to the front lines. I mean, when we're talking a world war, most aircraft were produced, when they're in full production scale, we're talking tens of thousands. We're talking 50,000 plus made throughout the war. Some of these Russian planes that they're introducing had maybe 1,000 to 2,000 actually produced in the war, and most of them were actually destroyed before they even flew. So, a lot of people have been talking, and I've actually had quite a few good conversations about this. Gaijin is very against putting prototypes into the game, yet they have already put 3 into the game, let alone aircraft that really aren't considered full production fighters. So, not really calling Gaijin out here, but at the same time, come on guys. If we're not going to do prototypes, then don't put any prototype in the game. But if you're going to put a few prototypes in the game, then let's start putting some prototype jets. Especially with the Germans, I think they'd have at least some great variety going into it. And like I said in my last video, the Japanese and Germans lost World War II. And if you're going to go into the Korean era of warfare with the MiGs and the F-86 Sabres, then it's kind of unfair for the simple fact that they didn't get to participate in that. And if you're like me, I've been really pushing lately, guys, to my Germans, trying to get the ME163 Comet unlocked. So future videos, well, you'll most likely be seeing a lot of German gameplay for the simple fact that I have been grinding through my G series BF-109s to get to the jet age. But man, guys, I don't know how you felt. I know a lot of people commented, not exactly on my videos itself, but a lot of the forums I post on. A lot of people commented, a lot of feedback, and pretty much all of it. I can't say it was 100%, but most of it was saying, yes, new game mode, yes, prototype jets. So again, I'm a small YouTuber. I really can't call Gaijin and be like, hey Gaijin, I play your game and I have 15 subscribers and I have, which, by the way, before I don't want to really just jump things. Thank you guys so much. Especially want to give a shout out to my boy Aaron or Aran. Oh man, I'm gonna butcher your name, man. I'm so sorry. Link to his channel will be in the description. He's definitely been commenting, and he has nearly 1,000 subscribers. And so he's definitely, when he comments on it, it definitely shows on his channel, and it's been getting more people to watch my videos. So I want to give a great shout out to him. He's an awesome guy. Hopefully we can do some dual comms here shortly. I love his channel. Also does a lot of War Thunder. Also plays some DayZ as well as other games. So shout out to him. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for making my last video, my patch 1.39, was my most viewed video ever. So thank you so much. I mean, I picked up a couple more subscribers. Thank you guys who are subscribing to my channel. I try not to go off on some rants, but I think this is a good rant to go out on because you guys, it's just awesome. When I first started out, I always say I'm going for a hobby, but it kind of doesn't feel like a hobby when you're spending so much time making videos and you're starting out and you're just not getting the views that you think your video should. So thank you again so much, everybody, for if you even just comment, if you watch, if you like, if you subscribe, anything. Thank you so much for watching. It makes my day when I check in and I see I have a couple comments or people liking my video, or I'm reaching almost 100 views. For people that are big YouTubers, 100 views they'll get in 10 minutes. For me, it's just an awesome feeling to finally get 100 subscribers. And I'm trying to make my videos as high quality and as entertaining as possible. So thank you so much. And ooh, man, it's gonna make me start crying. Ooh, no. Solemn moment for Redbeard. But let me know what you guys think of the new game mode. If I need to explain it more, I'll try my best. If I need to clarify it, I will the best I can. And if you guys really do like the idea of putting prototype aircraft in, try telling the other YouTubers, the bigger YouTubers that you guys watch, about either my video or the topic I'm talking about. And with that, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you in the skies.